audio and recording. And you should be live.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the live filmmaker Q&A with the crazy filmmakers who made Shorts Gone Wild block films. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here with us, and thanks to our filmmakers for being with us. We have Izzy Lee from Disco Graveyard, Joseph Graham from Mashed Potato Face, Lindsay Robinson from Central Dental, Francisco Lacerda with Karaoke Night, Sydney Clara Brafman with Decapitato, David Bornstein for Unholy Mole. How are you guys all doing tonight? Okay,
Alive.
still awake?
Yeah.
Still alive. Hey.
Oh, good.
Thanks for being up so late with us, and
Night is young. Yes,
Lindsay
yes.
and Francisco's case so early with us.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm gonna just type in the chat window here. You're in the chat. If you're in the chat or want to be in the chat, you guys, anyone watching, can hover your pointer over the bottom of the video and watch on YouTube. Click the YouTube logo, and then you can see the chat window on the right side. And then you can type questions for the filmmakers. All right. I'm gonna start the ball rolling. And Izzy, this is your second film that we've played. They kind of have a similar vibe, not exactly the same as the chicken, the obliteration of the chickens, What prompted you to do this again and like use this in the first place, use this kind of style?
So Disco Graveyard, as well as the obliteration of the chickens, were both made with 100% stock footage. And I heard from a lot of programmers as well as viewers that they really liked chickens, and they encouraged me to go more in that direction. As you have probably seen, you know, a lot of more of my other stuff is just straight narrative horror. And it's been an interesting way to explore making films without having a full crew and, you know, all the money that goes along with it. And truthfully, I had a really demanding job, and I didn't think I was going to be able to make a short this year. But I thought about it, and I was able to continue in that direction. And I was really looking forward to just seeing people in the festival circuit this year. And well, at least we have this, right? So just wanted to have some fun then.
And that is the music. So you did the voiceover for this one.
This one I did, yeah.
And then do you also is everything kind of stock except for your voice? There's bits of music.
The music is from my composer up in Montreal, Shane Grin. He does most of my films. He's such a madman that he usually has something laying around that he's worked on. And I asked him if he had any weirdo disco stuff, and he said, "Oh, do I ever?" And I asked him what he had, and he sent me a whole bunch of stuff. And we chose 3 tracks. Or I should say I chose 3 tracks that we spliced together, and I asked him to do a little chorus singing for the theme song, and here we are.
Joseph, Mashed Potato Face was, I don't think I've ever seen a film quite like it. There's somebody in the chat that said mashed potatoes are their favorite food. What other side dish do you find particularly horrifying?
Oh gosh, particularly horrifying. I just had some figs that weren't aged, and they were really weird. Like today I had them and I found them very strange. I don't know if they're horrifying. The whole story about mashed potatoes being scary is a girlfriend over here's mother had a fear of all white foods growing up, which we were just joking around about. It was like, what is she, like at Thanksgiving, and she's just like in terror of mashed potatoes and shit. We were just like, that's hilarious. So we just kept going on, and yeah, we came up with this weird concept. I don't know if it worked for figs. Maybe. I guess it could be any, like you could do a sequel with any fruits or vegetables, whatever.
Mashed things.
Squash.
Where did you film that? Like, whose kitchen did you use a story for this film?
Yeah, that's my parents. They moved back into an older home a while ago, and it's just it's a very strange, unique looking place. And yeah, they let me wreak havoc for a few days in there.
Was the cast people you found through a casting call, or were they people that you already knew?
A mix of both. The dad is someone I've known for a long time. I used to shoot music videos with. He used to be a rapper in Houston. He's not any longer. But yeah, the mom casting call, or actually I just kind of found via Houston acting groups. Jackie, the little girl, I found via like just a casting call, and I don't know, she was unreal for her audition. She was like falling all over the floor and just very dramatic, and we were like, we have to have this little girl. She's perfect for this over the top
Excellent.
weird horror film. But yeah. We'll call him A, we'll call him B.
Nice. For Lindsay with Central Dental, so this was your world premiere, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It was one of my, like, it made a big impression on me because of the way it was filmed was so beautiful. And the sets were interesting. The room where the dental chair is, I kind of got the feeling that was that a complete room, or was that just bits to make you think that there was a wall there? Like with the door.
It was built in a like a commercial bay, I guess you'd call it, like where people would park a truck or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it was just some flats put up, and then the Mallory, the production designer, added the scratches and stuff to the walls, and then we had the door like really reinforced on there so that when it opens and stuff, it doesn't like shake the walls, because that really gives away that it's a fake wall. So yeah, we weren't able to find any real dental office. And also for having the tooth creature, it needs a fair amount of space to walk around, and most actual dentist places are pretty cramped. But it's a real dentist chair. We got it. We found it used online.
That's awesome. Do you still have it?
No, actually, the person that designed the chair, or designed the tooth creature, I gave him the chair after the shoot was done.
So talk to me about the tooth creature. Like, it's very integral to the story, but it comes in so late that when you do get to it, you're kind of like, what's happening right now? I think my mouth was like, my jaw dropped when it came out. I was like, what? This is the best. What was the genesis of this story idea, and like, where did this tooth creature come from?
Well, I have a picture on my phone here.
Oh, okay.
That is terrifying.
Like, I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I don't know about where you guys are from, but at least back home. And then this picture is from a trip to Japan. Lots of dental offices have a mascot of sorts that has like a mouth and a smiley face, which I always thought was like actually pretty creepy and very strange. Does it have like a mouth full of its own tiny versions of its own body or something like that? So it's kind of twisted. So I kind of just riffed on, if that thing was real, what might they actually use it for at the dentist office?
Collections.
Collections.
And power, electricity.
Yeah.
It's such a cool image when it first comes into frame. You're like, what is happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
And I just love how she's just like, no, the other side. And he's like, oh.
just like how he leaves.
Shuffling.
Just go back to work.
Okay.
Actual work. It was good,
Oh
man.
man. Well, it was wonderful.
So we got a little bit. in
So okay, so we answered that question. Somebody else asked what inspired the tooth monster, and it was the illustration. I always think that when you see barbecue places and it's like a pig with a plate of ribs in front of it, and he's like this just seems wrong.
It's like the
yeah.
same thing with gingerbread men. Like they live in a house of themselves.
Yeah.
Made from their own flesh.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
The gingerbread man.
So Francisco, with karaoke night, the way that your film looked and just how it took a hard left turn kind of right away was really wonderful. What was the kind of the inspiration for your film? Because it was so it had a definite, I guess, science fiction monster bent to it, but it also had this really great lighting design as well as some really great music in it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so actually the main influence when it comes to films and the whole lighting design and all that was actually Only God Forgives by Nicholas Winding Refn, which I think is a really good movie.
That's
I
great.
know many people won't think it is, but I think it's a really good movie.
Mm.
And the story, well, it actually started as a joke between me and the co-writer and producer of the film that we had years ago, and we just set it aside because it was just a joke of a film we had come up with. So years went by, and we started hearing that in Azores we live off tourism, and the small businesses in Azores, they're very let's say stingy, maybe, because prices start rising, so there's more money flowing in, and the small businesses go all cursing on those big franchises and the tourists coming and ruining our island and all that. So I thought, hey, imagine if these guys in the small business started killing tourists to make a profit because they just can't put up with the other kinds of businesses they have in the store because of tourism. And which remoted us back to that joke, and we put it up. We added in the whole sexual harassment part of it into it, because I've been hearing a lot of sexual harassment stories from my wife, from the actress that played the character, and I just decided, hey, I gotta make something empowering here. I gotta make a catharsis of some kind. So in came the joke too, for that left turn, and
Oh, because there's this.
karaoke night came together. That's the story.
I do like how it tackles, both serious subjects and creates, although bigger than life characters, but sort of tackles a serious subject, but then just goes so off the wall that it leaves you gaping at the end. Well, it leaves a lot of things gaping at the end.
Very, very spot on choice of words there.
Very good.
I got a little bit of a slee stack quality out of the monster. What were you imagining that the monster was, or do you have a thought about that?
Oh, the monster. Well, it is actually, going back to the joke thing. The joke was actually based on I think it's a myth from the Cameroon Islands in Africa, of this one-eyed bat creature that goes about raping people in the middle of the night during election season.
During election season.
Yeah, it's called the Popo Bawa, if you guys want to check it out. So the creature was basically inspired by that creature. So it's kind of let's say a demon type of thing, but I added in a little alienish twist to it.
So is that like a voter suppression thing? Is that what that is?
Kinda, I guess so, because the attacks only happen during election season in that place. So yeah, I cut that from a cryptozoology show I watched once on Travel Channel called Destination Truth.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, one of the episodes was about that creature, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. If this thing exists, this is terrifying. My goodness.
Oh, man.
So funny.
So yeah.
And so the title song that she's singing in the karaoke bar, was that
Mhm.
written for the film?
Yes, I got together with the composer and I said, dude, I gotta have a theme song for this, a single something. So I wrote him lyrics and I did, hey, make this like synthy David Lynchy kind of thing, and he came up with that beautiful song. And he got a jazz singer from, oh, where is she from? Is she from Hungary? She has a really weird spelling name. I'm afraid to spell it because I have no idea how to spell it. I'm gonna try. It's like Rekka Schisser. She's a really great singer, and I think she did an amazing. She really brought in life to what I had in my mind for that song. So I think,
It was definitely evocative of like if Julie Cruz was the singer for
yes,
Pastel Ghost.
Sure.
mhm, definitely.
Oh, lovely. I'm going to move over here to Sydney. And do you always make tiny, like short, powerful little punchy films?
I do. Yeah, I've made some other longer ones, but I tend to make like 15-second to 1-minute films. They're so much fun.
So so you've made longer films and you've made the short films. Is there a major difference in the amount of preparation that you have to do for both of them, or is it still about the same?
I mean, I think it's about the same. You just change like the duration. So, obviously more shoot days or more props, things like that. For Decapitated, we still had like, multiple outfits for the actor. We had, all the same amount of props. We had for like the gore piece, we had to like make sure that we could like reset it if we needed to. So it's kind of the same.
There's the pet.
Yeah.
I know, it's
Like,
my
it's like
cat
the
in the
first one to
background
know.
has to be
First pet of
involved.
the Zoom call.
First pet of the Zoom call. Well, that turn was really wonderful. That I'm assuming that was like some kind of prosthetic. And how did you shoot that?
Yeah, so what we did was we have obviously it's a cut to from like the disc shooting out of the console to going into his neck. So coming out of the console was its own shot. I like tied like a little piece of string on the disc and I put it in and then I just yanked it out. And then on the actor, it's an actual prosthetic that is already built with the disc in there. And then we just did a whip pan over to that. And it's really effective. It looks like it just shoots right into his neck.
Oh, wow. So it was just always there. Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. So it was an amazing like hand built prosthetic that we did. There's like a tube underneath the disc itself. So the disc was like cut and molded to his neck. And that's sitting on top of the tube with like all the holes for the blood to come out. And then over that is like the latex and like all the gore. And then obviously you can't see it, but the tube like goes behind him. And my producer / like SFX genius is like hiding behind the sofa, like blowing into it so it all comes out. Movie magic.
Yeah. What the video game aspect of it's pretty neat, and like the sort of the 8-bit graphics. Was that all created for the film? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a real game. Unfortunately, you guys can't play it. But it's sort of like based on this. Kind of like the same thing with like The Ring, where you find like a cursed videotape, or you find like a cursed video game in this like bargain bin, and we don't know where it came from, and it's super old, and you have to play it. And it obviously like the aspect ratio for the TV is off, and it would set the console on fire if you play it long enough.
That was very cool. How many of these super short, sort of sudden films have you made, do you think?
I've made 2 other ones. You guys remember last year, The Only Thing I Love More Than You Is Rank Dressing. And then I have another one that I've made before then called Frowny Face. That one's only 15 seconds. It's about a girl that's holding a cup of boba tea with like a really big straw. She's walking up some stairs, trips, and stabs the straw in her eyeball. So
a lot of sudden trauma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We played the ranch dressing one, I think last year. We had, before the festival, we had a little preview panel. We had a panel at
Mhm.
Wizard World.
Wizard World Portland, like at a convention.
Yeah,
So we did a
yeah.
panel, and we showed that, and the whole room was dying. It was dying when she reaches over and grabs the guy's hand.
And like dunks it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it got the whole room. They didn't see anything after that for a couple of minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Very nice. So for David, you want to take this one? Unholy
sure.
Moly
Yeah.
was one of the grosser things I've seen in a good way. Well, yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
And
Great.
I'm
That's the goal.
purposefully
Yes.
so. But
Mhm.
I loved the mix of like the grossness and the kind of silliness with the husband doing the sacrifice, and then the animated devil
Mhm.
like dealing with him.
I love how he doesn't miss a beat, right? So
Yeah.
they
Just knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like he's willing to make a deal with the devil so that his wife will make more guacamole for him.
No question. I mean,
But then
none.
when it begins
Yeah.
to come out, he doesn't
Uh-huh.
question that's what he wants, right?
No.
He doesn't care.
he knows. It's the guac is in the heart. Yeah.
Now there was some star power in that film there too,
little
right?
bit. Yeah. We got Ray Wise to play a voiceover role in my movie, which was just a pipe dream come true. It's kind of an interesting journey because we first brought the role to a local actor. I went to school at University of Arizona, and there was this old guy out there. I won't say his name, but he was the go-to old guy for everyone's movies. And we brought this thing to him originally just thinking it was going to be the most straightforward, uncomplicated choice. And he poo-pooed all over the project. And I won't go into a lot of detail. I respect him for being honest, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't peeved at the time. So I kind of just said, you know what? Like, I've done the circuit a few times. I know that there are quality people that just want to do something weird, something different for a day. And I told my producer, you know, why don't we just try it? Why don't we just reach out to people? It probably won't work. And if it doesn't work, we'll just, find someone through Backstage, Actors Access. Who cares? We'll get someone eventually. And it ended up working, which color me surprised. I'm still flabbergasted thinking about it. And Ray was just a dream. What can I say? It was a hard choice with the two people we eventually narrowed it down to, but I think just amazing. Well, what else can I say about it? Just absolutely, just everything you would hope. And it brought so much to our movie. I'm sorry, I'm just going on a tangent right now.
That's right.
Yeah, we got Ray.
He has such a distinctive voice,
Yeah.
and his voice is not just his voice. It's also evocative of all the crazy stuff he's done. So when people hear that, they think about Twin Peaks, and for us, we always think about AM 1200, David Crier's film.
I don't know if you were familiar with a show called Reaper that was on the CW for a while. That was kind of one of my first introductions to Ray, was as he plays the devil on that show. So in my mind, I was kind of I knew he could do it. Like, this was familiar territory for him. And if he didn't want to do it, I'd certainly understand, because he's done this role. But, for whatever reason, he was down to come play devil again for us, which is like, man, how cool is that?
The animation was also really cool.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
I was just talking about University of Arizona. So one of my good friends from there is a fellow by the name of Tom Smith, who is doing a lot of he's gotten pretty good in the animation world. Some seen his stuff in the Rocco's Modern Life movie, Let's Go Luna, Robot Chicken. He's been, he's been around the block. I kind of, we had someone else in mind originally, and that also didn't work out. So I went to Tom as like a, hey, do you know anyone kind of thing? And, I showed him the cut and he was really into it. He was excited to make something for Ray. And, we had some ideas in mind, but like as far as like a lot of the features of the design go, a lot of that was him. We talked a lot about the movie The Ritual and how we both really loved how they took mythology and did their own thing with it, and that was kind of the idea, as well as like giving it some, because Tom does a lot of Nickelodeon stuff for both Nickelodeon kids, so you probably saw a little bit of the Samurai Jack influence in there. And he's I think the animation took the longest part. I think it was like 3 months, because he was doing that around Let's Go Luna, and so it was basically like evenings and weekends for him, where trying to nail down this 30-second thing, but he went above and beyond for us, like, and I think that really shows, and it's just one of the many things I'm grateful for.
It's definitely the best looking, sounding, and entertaining film I think that's ever been made about making a deal with the devil for guacamole.
Mm-hmm. For guacamole.
No, we really love
it's
it.
I'm
actually,
the one. I did that.
There's a question in the chat that said, I was so disturbed by the guacamole eating. Pure horror. This is from Mallory Shimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. How did you think of such an idea?
Well, I had a friend in college who politely declined story credit on this. She's somewhere in the special things. You can just throw a rock and maybe you'll hit on her name. She had a toxic boyfriend, not unlike this guy, and he started to reach out to her, and not me, but other mutual friends, asking about if he could get her guacamole recipe as a way of like trying to reestablish contact, which is like, and like her guacamole isn't even all that special. By her own admission, I've never tried it, but she says it's okay, and I don't think there's such thing as just okay guacamole. But so I don't remember. It was like me and some other friends in our film school producing class just sort of took the idea to just an absurd thing, and then we just didn't talk about it again for years. And then until my good friend Heather came around and said, do you want to do something? And then we just picked that up again, and made that disgusting, horrible thing you just saw. You're welcome.
The guacamole looked delicious.
What
was
it
that made of?
guacamole?
Some of the close-ups were guacamole. The anything spraying from a tube was like a pea soup substitute, because guacamole is expensive, and if to get the spray I wanted, like it had to be more liquid. So, and we had a budget, but we didn't have anything that could like break through. Like we just had a CO2 can, so we just did what we could with what we had. Yeah, pea soup and guacamole sometimes is the short answer to that question.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we have a question. For everyone who has had prosthetics in their film, what challenges did you face during filming?
I can talk. So I really love doing like on set prosthetic work with like latex and stuff I can hold in my hands. I don't do a ton of like VFX afterwards. So there's always a challenge of if it's something that is going to be on an actor, and it's your first time putting it on the actor, like is it going to be able to hold on? Like is the weight going to be too much? Is it going to fold over? If you have tubing involved and there's blood and everything, is the blood going to come out fast enough? Do you have like enough hydraulics? Are you going to be able to reset, things like that? So it's always kind of like, it's a little bit of a fun mystery because you're kind of like doing a science experiment, right? Like in front of camera. But it brings like such an energy to set that like really brings you into the moment. Like you really feel like you're there, like everyone's standing around watching. We're like, okay, we're going to blow in the tube. Like, let's see what happens. I love it. I think it's great. So there's always like the challenges of like, will it actually work? And then it does. And then you're like 5 years old at, you know, the science fair. You're like, yeah, my volcano worked. It's great.
Yeah, in our last Q&A, one of the filmmakers made a statement that, you know, they had some prosthetics and some gags that were kind of one and done that they couldn't repeat. And they said that when it works that first time, it's exhilarating as hell, right? You knew you only had one chance and you did it. You know?
It's showbiz, baby.
Yeah. You know, this was my first movie where I went really, really in on the practical stuff. I've done like a little bit here and there, but never on the scale because I never had a budget before, real one anyways. But, you know, we got really lucky. You know, we definitely did not have time to waste. I think there was one gag that didn't work. It was like that scene where like the nose was under the nose. We originally wrote that as we would have it like drip out, but we couldn't get the sponge to work. So our cheat was just have her head down and she would bring it back up and all of a sudden squawk there. Not what we wanted, but you know, that's what we had to do. That was the only thing that didn't really work, but anything involving spraying from orifices, that took time. And that was a big, reinforcement. I knew this before, but it reinforced and tested my patience. Because, man, when you know that the clock is ticking and there's nothing you can do but wait, it's stressful, man. Like, but if you lose your cool, that's it. You lose the crew. You lose the boat. So it's like all you can do is just grin and bear it. It's gonna take what it's gonna take because you have to get it right. But that was a big thing. It's like we got lucky that most things worked, and just the biggest test of patience on set with any project I think I've ever done so far with this one.
Now for Lindsay, you had that arm gag with the where the tooth bites off the guy's arm. That must have been something that would have been hard to replicate.
Actually, it was resettable. So the each shot, it was kind of a different setup. Like when it bites down onto the arm, that's the actor's actual arm, and then chocolate syrup / blood, pours out of the mouth onto the arm. But even that was a bit of a balance of figuring out, the timing of when it comes out and stuff. So each of those shots did take quite a while, and the reset times were pretty lengthy, which is stressful, but they end up looking pretty good. And then the one where the arm gets torn off, the best take we had, there was a bunch of like fishing line that was there to kind of like hold the tearaway part on. And in my inexperience with VFX and stuff, I had to kind of learn how to like digitally erase the fishing line that was left in the shot afterwards, because aside from that, it was basically perfect. So we just had to like move on from there. And honestly, like each shot, there were new challenges. One of the funny ones that I wish we had like a behind the scenes video of it, but when the leg gets torn away, Brendan, who was doing the puppeteering of the tooth when it like chews the leg, so he's like laying on the floor underneath where the leg tears off, and there's a whole bunch of blood or fake blood, and then they have like a fire extinguisher of sorts, so it's like pressurized with air and then when they let it fly, a whole bunch of this comes out. But however it was aimed, it basically all ended up right onto him on the floor, and we didn't see any of it in the shot.
Oh, no.
Gravity, huh?
Yeah, that was at least one of the takes, anyways. But it all worked out. It just took some trial and error.
So there's some mashed potato questions in here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Jody.
No, I didn't ask that one. How many potatoes were killed to make this film?
We used a lot of instant mashed potatoes and a lot of filling bowls with other bowls. So we just had to put mashed potatoes on the top. So not like an incredible amount. I'd say we go through like maybe 4 bags of it wasn't like crazy. It seems like it, I think. I hope. Maybe. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We didn't kill too many vegetables. It was okay.
I immediately loved mashed potato face. It's such a weird idea. You guys already talked a little bit about where that came from, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of. Yeah, his mother-in-law's fear of white
foods. That's pretty common, which is weird.
I had no idea about the whole thing, but yeah, apparently so.
Yeah.
Except that I had when I used to work for a restaurant company doing marketing, and the CEO's daughter went through a phase where she would only eat white food.
Yeah.
So she only ate like rice, macaroni, mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes she'd eat cauliflower, but only white food.
The stand-in for the little girl is my niece, and she's one of those people. Just macaroni, bread, cheese, only like white foods. Still. Waiting for her to grow out of it. It's been her entire life. She's 13 now. Maybe she'll get there. We'll see.
So are you the best mashed potato maker in the world? Is that
Ooh, no. COVID, the whole pandemic has given me an opportunity to really learn how to cook about 4 things appropriately. I feel like I got 4 meals down for the first time in my life. Otherwise, I've just been making awful things my entire life, and this has been a decent moment as far as me cooking. The world, not so much. Maybe me just cooking. Yes, that's about it.
So where did the character of mashed potato face like come from? Because he was with the everything, with the face and the voice and
the clothes.
The clothes.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of Italian giallo cinema whenever we came up with this idea. So I was like, it's got to be like a dark figure with the black hat and the black gloves and everything, but then this ridiculous face. And a lot of those movies, a lot of them have masks. Yeah. They're not usually like this, obviously, but we were like, yeah, we'll do that, but then it would be like this ridiculous prosthetic piece. And we went through like a few different artists, but we found this guy who did this like perfect thing like immediately, and I was like, yes, you're perfect. So it was like a weird joke, and then it became a whole thing.
And did you have that voice in mind, or did the actor bring that with?
No, that's not even his voice. I actually just I was debating whether or not to use his voice, because we recorded production audio. And then at some point, I kind of knew this in the back of my head. I was like, I don't really want to use any production audio, but I kind of want to have it just in case. But we didn't use any production audio. I think maybe one line. But then I got on Fiverr and was like looking up Italian voiceover artists, and I just sent it to like 3 people, and I actually used 2 of them. I sent it to 4 people, and I had them record the thing, and then I used like 2 people's, like mixed it up and put the effects on it and stuff, and it was like kind of an homage, I guess, or whatever you want to say, to the Italian giallos that we were pulling from initially.
What was the brains? What was that? Because the actress had to actually put that in her mouth.
Oh yeah, we did a special batch of edible version and a non-edible version, but nothing that wasn't edible. It was just like we were reusing it so much. It was like, okay, we have to. Is that the edible version? Somebody's got to keep track of this. It wasn't me, thankfully. It was like somebody else's job. Yeah, I think it was like, gosh, I can't remember exactly because I didn't do it. It was like beets mixed with, I don't know, raisins, and I don't know. It was apparently a real recipe mixed with like a couple other things to make it have like blood clotty look to it. But yeah, it's like brain mixed with potato. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
We're I think for the rest of our natural lives, whenever we see mashed potatoes, I think we're both going to say mashed potato.
That'll make Jackie very happy, the little girl in the movie. I think she had a good time with that line. Yeah.
I'm gonna check on Francisco.
Okay.
Perfect.
We're gonna see if Francisco needs some technical help.
Uh,
But
I'm
Izzy, there's
fine.
a question
It's
here.
my
in the
camera. It's my
camera.
camera.
Okay.
Is stupid.
Okay. So you're still there. We just can't see you.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, good. There's a question for Izzy, and they said, I've never seen a film made entirely with stock footage. Do you have the storyline first and then you find the footage, or does the footage you discover shape the story?
It can go either way. In the case of chickens, I had written this weird Herzog type manifesto about, the banalities of life, and also chickens are horrific looking void type creatures. And I had my friend, the author Bracken McLeod, do a voiceover for that, and I didn't know what the hell to do with it. And it sat there for like 2 years, I think, maybe a year and a half, before I figured out what to do with this thing. And then I went looking around for footage that would fit this weird little manifesto that I wrote. And I was able to change things around that would fit the narrative based on what was available. With Disco Graveyard this time around, I had an idea in mind about, it's actually probably the most positive film I've ever done, and I've done some really incredibly dark stuff. So I felt, and this was a month before COVID hit hard. I was writing this, and I felt like the world needed a little bit of a positivity boost, because I know I did. It's winter, winter is generally terrible for sensitive people. And I had a loose draft in mind, and I went around looking for images to both inspire and fit that narrative, and I changed it around a few times. So yeah, it's like a fun little puzzle piece. It's a really interesting way to work because, like I said previously, it's all been, straight live action narrative with prosthetics and blood and crazy things. Yeah, it's been fun. I'm not sure that I could ever expand anything like this to a feature. That might just be an exercise in tedium. It'd be more like a TV series or web series or whatever, if I did continue this sort of thing. But yeah,
It's interesting though, because these stock footage exists so that people can use it for multiple purposes, and then stringing them together the way that you do, and putting the background and putting the words over it gives it a completely different meaning than maybe it was originally intended.
Oh.
What just happened? Are you unmuted?
No.
No, you're unmuted. Okay, sorry. I was like, now I'm afraid to talk because I didn't want that feedback loop to happen. I'm like, no. So yes, as like the stock footage is really interesting. It's an interesting, not only exercise but kind of commentary on like the way we view things and like what we bring to it. And one of the images that really sticks out that we used in the trailer was the person wearing the big cat face, and then the two people like doing the dance. And we're like, somebody made stock footage of this And I'm just curious, like, what is the weirdest thing that you've found in stock footage lockers?
That's, the two women dancing with the big, huge cat float was one of them. Mannequin head exploding. The guy with the horse head beating himself with a rolled up newspaper or whatever that was. Very strange. And like the first time I saw that, I just lost my mind laughing because it's just so incredibly like, what would occur to you to put this on film and then sell it to people? But I want people to keep doing it because it's hilarious. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like super, super crazy. And I want to, if anyone's out there that makes stock footage or is inspired to now, please just be as weird as possible. Just like the film. Be yourself, be weird. Reject conformity and reject society.
We have a question in the chat for all of you from Mary Kelly. How do you guys feel COVID might affect your future projects or directions?
Yeah.
And that's like that's a big question that you're probably asking yourself too.
Always start with Izzy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like my identity's been totally erased this year because film festivals are the best thing ever. And I love them very much. I had a job in them. I used to be a programmer. And it's been really fun to be a filmmaker in the last several years, going around and meeting people and talking about movies. And I've met, some really great collaborators that way at film festivals. And this pandemic we've never seen anything like it in our lifetimes. None of us lived through the 1918 Spanish flu. So what do we do? Do we shoot movies via Zoom? Do we shoot movies with isolating our actors in a house for how many number of days, 2 weeks? And then, it's a nightmare. It's a logistical nightmare at the very least. And it represents a huge number of challenges to indie filmmakers who were always sort of under the gun and under, pressure to perform with limited time and budget in the first place. So I really don't know what's going to happen. I am pretty envious of several friends that have gotten feature footage in the can before all this went down, and so they're in post. And so nice timing, pals. But I also know that there are producers and other filmmaking friends that are working on solutions on how to go forward, but there's nothing really concrete just yet. So I would love to have an actual answer, but I have no idea.
It's hard.
Yeah, when this thing started in March, we were beside ourselves, because like with the HP Lovecraft Film Festival that we also organize, that's been around for 25 years, and it has an audience, and if that couldn't happen for a year or 2 years, the audience would still more or less be there, I think. But Portland Horror Film Festival, I feel like we're still building that. This was going to be our 5th year, and we really felt in March like that could be it. Like that's it for us. And we also felt very strongly. We have a lot of friends who work in the service industry, work in bars and restaurants. We used to live in New Orleans. It's like everybody we knew there worked in a bar.
Yeah.
And to see those people have nothing right now, and to see filmmakers who couldn't make films and people who just your job can't happen right now. Sure, there are some people that stock groceries and restaurants that deliver food. I guess I don't know how that's making up for things, but there are a whole segment of people that have to be able to get together with lots of other people to do their craft. And filmmakers, anybody that runs any kind of event like a convention. And that's the other half of our personal income, is we go to conventions and we sell our products. And so this year for us, both the conventions went away and the film festivals went away. And it was sobering.
Perfect. So thank you for letting us show your
Sorry
films
for bringing the room down.
so that we can have this festival in spite of everything.
Here, Joseph, how's the pandemic affecting you? How do you see it affecting your future
Gosh, yeah. I mean, it's a bummer. I've been trying to get into a Portland Film Festival for years, man, years. That I was super psyched to get into one still, but like, yeah, it's a little bit of a. It's like, oh, I was wanting to go to Portland, and I wanted to have this reason to go, but yeah. But aside from that personal thing, yeah, it's I don't know. I think I've talked about it with my little small team, and I think it's just like, well, right now the director of a feature that I produced, he's shooting like a horror. I mean, he's shooting like a weird thing by himself at home. He like picked up a few lights and some gear and stuff. He's like, I'm just gonna shoot at my house, and I was like, great, perfect. Let me know how it goes. And then I don't know. We've kind of talked about it. It's like once this year is kind of blown though. Honestly, it's like, what are you gonna do this year? Nothing. We'll talk about it next year. But I think it's just working small and slow. It's because the logistical nightmare, like you guys mentioned, is very real. And then there's like an insurance thing, and it's like if you're gonna start bringing in a bunch of people, it's not really gonna work. You're gonna have to do it smaller somehow, which or probably don't know. But we shot a feature film with like, gosh, maybe really 6 principal people. So it's like, let's keep it like that, I guess. I don't know. It's difficult. Yeah. It's an ongoing conversation as it is now.
Yeah.
Lindsay, what is it like in Europe right now?
For me, it's maybe a little tough to say because I just moved here at the beginning of this year. So, I got to enjoy Berlin and a couple other places, and then had to stay inside for 3 months, basically. So I'm still very much like new to the film industry in Berlin. So I couldn't really say too much, but I know back home in Edmonton things are very much shut down, but they're trying to figure out ways to open back up. So like for myself, I do have a web series project that I am confident I'll still be able to do this year because it's mostly just myself and my brother working together on it. So it's kind of a show that can possibly work with 2, maybe 3 people on set. But other than that, I haven't really seen much else going on.
And I guess the question she clarified her what she was asking is that in terms of future storylines and themes of loneliness and pandemics, and she has a soft spot for the murder hornets. I guess it was more of a question of like, how do you foresee the situation and environment around COVID affecting future types of stories that are going to be told?
Has the pandemic inspired anyone to write anything about
Yeah.
being alone at home? Sure.
Anyone?
I think it's inspired
I
me to
think-
write more, but not necessarily about being home alone and like the whole thing. I don't know. Are we really going to want to like talk about it next year or whenever, maybe not even next year. I feel like there'll be like some things I want to see about it, but generally it's like, I don't know.
I do find that when I'm watching any show now, when I'm watching any like Family Guy or The Simpsons or something, it tweaks a little bit in the back of my brain that makes me angry that they're not portraying the world we live in now. Like I'm like, oh, they're just walking around outside. They're going to restaurants. They're
those dicks
they're living their lives. Nobody's wearing a mask. The Family
How
Guy
dare
guys.
they?
And it does a little bit. I'm kind of done with fiction that doesn't happen in our world, in our current world. Like I want to see what we're living on the screen.
Mm.
I think. I don't know if I really want that.
Yeah. I feel like we all need some time to process all of that and then put it into art.
See, I'm not sure I'm going to want to see it later. I think, like you said, I might want to forget about it later.
You're
Yeah,
gonna be-
it's a weird balance. I don't know. It's like a war movie, kind of. It's like, do you want to see that war movie as the war is still going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I guess it's kind of different. It's not a real similarity. We're grasping for things because this is all very brand new, but I don't know.
Gonna be
Whether,
inundated with all sorts of Zoom set stories and things like that, where it's like one person trapped in an apartment and
Yeah.
people shot over the internet with the screen and things like that, and
I'm sure.
you're going to get to watch them all
Mm.
and reject almost all of them because you're going to be sick of it.
That is the thing. I think is like there's going to be so many of kind of similar ideas that it's like a little bit of anxiety of like, am I just throwing myself into a big pool of people all doing the same thing? I don't know. Maybe. Do I have an original idea about it? Maybe you do.
We
Who knows?
have tried a couple times to program some Screen Life style films, but man, most of them are tough to watch. There's a couple out there that are pretty good, but like feature length. A short film. We've played a few short films like that where there's a chat happening, a video chat, and that's fun. But I think all the feature length ones I've seen have been a little rough.
They need to be edited more.
Yeah,
There will be somebody who figures out how to do a great one for sure, but I don't know if it's me.
be the Blair
guess
Witch
is
of
all I'm
Zoom
saying.
calls.
Basically.
Oh, goodness. I had a question for Sydney. In your film, so the only thing I love more than you is ranch dressing and decapitato.
Mhm.
Even though it's only a minute long, you still get a really good sense of kind of the genre, the vibe of that. What am I trying to say? Like you have films that kind of look like a 70s film, or the films that look like an 80s film. And your films, like even though they're so short like that, you kind of pack enough in there that you get a sense of like what kind of film this is. Is that something that you put thought into creating with the set design and props and everything?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think so. I do a lot of art direction as well, and your set pieces are kind of your characters. You'll see them first. They're the ones that really introduce your story. And so, in a film that's only 60 seconds, you don't have a lot of time to kind of talk about what's going on. So being able to like build your room, build your space in a way that will immediately get the point across of like what is trying to happen, like what's going on. Like we have this guy, we have all of his consoles stacked up, we have like his nerd wall, we have like everything that you need to know in the short amount of time that you see it. Tells a lot more than like he wakes up and you're just like, oh, I love video games. Like we don't need that, you know what I mean? We have everything we need right when you see it. It's all in the room. Color grading also comes into play as well. Both of those do have like a totally different look, but you can tell based on the color tone exactly what's going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. And is that something that you notice right away when you're watching other people's films? Does it drive you crazy?
Yes, for sure. I was watching the Purge movies the other day, and just in terms of like set design, I was like losing my mind. The very first Purge movie, there's like one shot where we have Ewan McGregor, or no, Ethan Hawke. I get them mixed up. Their names are so similar. Whoever the lead character was, he's like over here, and then we have like this big set piece. It's like a totally empty room. We have a fishbowl full of dominoes, and it's like very prominently in the shot. And it's something that I saw and I had to take a screenshot because I questioned the motives behind why that was there, because it's not even like a metaphor. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. So that kind of stuff definitely pisses me off. like that was a moment to like, if you want to do that, say something, but it's not. It's literally like, what is going on here? Yeah, it happens a lot.
So I have one last question for Francisco. With
I am
karaoke.
here.
Hi, with karaoke night. I mean, we talked about some prosthetics and things, but was the alien slash bat creature, was that a puppet or was that a person wearing something? And was it like partially a puppet, or like how did that whole thing work?
So it was actually a combination of a puppet and a suit, a person wearing a suit. And in the editing, we made it look like it was one whole thing. And yeah, there was a gag that didn't make it final cut because we had a problem on set that caused us to lose a bunch of connecting footage. So we had to reshoot some stuff in order to make the thing work, because the actor wasn't there with us. It had already, we had wrapped up, and he was on his way back to the mainland the next day, and we only found out that we were missing shots on the day that he was leaving. So we just had to come up quickly with a solution, and we lost another interesting gag there. But well, I guess it'll appear somewhere on and maybe as a deleted scene or something. Involve some more prosthetic work, but otherwise I think prosthetics, I mean, probably the brains and the old salt scene.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. And then with the lollipop she sticks on his forehead, did that just happen, or did you have to stick it?
It was actually that was the actress's suggestion, and we were wondering if it was going to work or not. So we actually just found out on set. There were a bunch of takes.
Okay.
It initially didn't, stick. It would fall mid-scene while he was going through the dialogue. But there was a few takes that, it just went. It just stayed put there, and we cut right before it fell off. So yeah, it was a tricky one. The one with the lollipop. Good thing is we had a lot of lollipops for that day.
Okay.
It was actually one of the most difficult props to find, those types of lollipops. We're searching all over the island. I wanted something very specific, one of those Virginia lollipops, and I just found it randomly like 2 days before we started shooting on the store.
Oh. You just bought all of them?
Oh yeah, I bought the whole rack. I just took them all with me. They're quite cheap.
Well, excellent. We should probably wrap up. It's like we've been on for about an hour, and like everyone looks really tired. We are going to actually have a Zoom after party after this, and Brian is going to type something in there to show people how to get into that. And if any of you are still feeling lively, you're welcome to stay on and chat with people coming in. You're also welcome to sign off and go to bed as well. But I want to thank you all again, Izzy, Joseph, Lindsay, David, Sydney, and Francisco. Just thank you so much for being with us and for making your wonderful film, and like trusting us to handle it well with the streaming format.
Thank you
for having
Thank you
us.
so much. Yeah, it's been cool.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, and everybody's films on this like segment was fucking, they were great. Just letting you know, I loved them all.
It's fun being in the block of weirdos.
Yeah, this is a weird set to be in. I
The
like it.
weirdos are where the fun is, man.
That's right.
Just a question. How long is it going to be on this block? Because I think I might just.
It'll be available until tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. our time. So from 24 hours from the time that it started streaming.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can stop and start it and watch it again until tomorrow.
Okay.
So I think for you about another 12,
I got time.
18 hours, like another 18 hours.
Plenty of time. It's already Sunday here.
Yeah, I was like trying to do the math, so it's 12. So 18 hours, I think it'll still be available.
All right.
Yeah, and then it'll shut off.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And like you said, you don't have to leave. But in case you do, I just wanted to say goodbye and again say it really means a lot to us that you can be here. So thanks for being a part of it.
Thanks.
Like,
And
Cool.
yeah,
for real.
yeah.
So we just stay on this Zoom if we want to hang out. I might hang out.
Yeah, we're gonna
All
stop
right.
broadcasting, but we'll keep the meeting open.
Oh, okay.
Cool,
All right.
cool.
Great.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I might be
start-
around.
Bye,
I'll leave
live
it open
Q&A
now.
viewers.
I would love to, but I got to get some rest. But thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been
Thank
fun.
you.
Thanks, Izzy.
Thanks. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it's
I will
3:30
hang
in the
around.
morning, so I'm gonna get some sleep.
I hear you. Thank you so much for
Bye,
staying up.
guys. Thank you
Bye,
so
Sydney.
much.
Bye.
Right.
All right.
We already
I
have,
will.
we shot our
it's late.
last intro, and then I have my drink already. So
I'm gonna go get mine. I'm gonna stay up for one glass of wine. I'll be right.
okay, excellent.
It's 9 in the morning, so I'm good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get your coffee.
Same here.
and
It's 10 in the
everything.
morning here.
Yeah.
I'm
alright.
gonna see if I can figure out what happened to my camera because it
Okay.
just went off.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
you
to
can leave and come
again.
back in. We'll be here.
Be
And
back
Brian, are you
soon.
posting in the Facebook event?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we not broadcasting anymore?
You are.
Oh, okay.
So
So I
I,
guess we're
I
still
suppose I could
broadcasting.
switch over.
So for any of you watching that want to join in our Zoom after party, we're gonna at some point stop broadcasting here, but Brian's posting the link in the Facebook event.
So I'm going to transition over to that.
Yeah.
Our audio is still on, but people are now seeing a message,
Okay.
or they will, and they
So
will when it catches up.
They can still hear us, but they won't be able to see us right now.
Yeah.
And that's a
Oh, there
different
we go.
than this one.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So
the
no,
same.
it's the same one.
Oh,
We're using OBS to broadcast. So he took our image down and put up a card that says with the Zoom meeting ID and password so that people can join us in here if they like.
Mm.
So you've only you live in Berlin for only a year or 6 months?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you speak German?
Interesting timing to move halfway around the world.
Yeah.
But,
I have a friend